Friday night, the 27th of February. One more day left in this month. It is a leap year after all. 6:35 p.m. We are, of course, looking at the Messier 42 complex with 42, 43, and then the NGC 1973-5-7 series there. Quite a good view for 6:35 p.m. We're only about an hour in the sky dark. We're about an hour after sunset, and we've got about another half an hour to sky dark. But I'll tell you why. We have to move on quickly to the NGC 2200 and hopefully through 2299 this evening, because we're going to be back in the thick of the NGCs being above negative 30 degrees declination. There's something like, I wrote it out earlier, I think it's something like 26 studies in the NGC 2200 to 2249 series, and 39 studies in the 2250 to 2299 series. Let's get our start. Okay, NGC 2202 is an open cluster in Orion. 2202, let's get the data. I'm not seeing much of anything, but there may be an open cluster here. This one is supposed to be 2,900 light years distant. Let's go to 75x. There's no data other than its distance. It's at right ascension 6 hours, 16 minutes, 50 seconds with a declination of plus 5 degrees, 59 minutes, and 48 seconds. This one is clearly an open cluster, although very diffuse, but it is demarcating from the background sky. This is NGC 2204. An open cluster in Canis Majoris, the big dog. Magnitude 8.6, 13 arc minutes in size, 80 stars, the brightest of which are magnitude 12.2, if we can consider that being a member. It's a class 3-3, which means relatively uncondensed and with a lot of disparate magnitudinal brightnesses. 8,600 light years distant. RA is 615.33 with a declination of minus 1839.54. NGC 2206 is a galaxy in Canis Majoris. Let's see if we can pick it out. Fairly bright, magnitude 12.2. I think I'm seeing it on the screen. How about you? 2.4 by 1.3 arc minutes. Spire with a bar, lowercase bc, so not a very pronounced core. 278 million light years distant. Puts this roughly 180,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension is 615.59 with a declination of minus 2645.54, centering the galaxy up, and it looks like it may very well be a galaxy pair in Canis Majoris. NGC 2207, a galaxy that's quite apparent on the screen despite the diffraction light from the power line. A magnitude 10.8. Let's go right away to 75x and get a view. It is 4.2 by 2.6 arc minutes, spiral with a bar and a lowercase bc, and it has an annularity of wraparound spiral arms. 123 million light years distant, puts it about 150,000 light years in diameter. RA is 616.21 with a declination of minus 21.22.22. Pushing it up a little bit to 105x and heading out. Stars are looking good. NGC 2211 is another galaxy in Canis Majoris. Looking for it now. Probably going to be higher up on the screen, as most were. We're looking for something fairly small, 1.7 by 0.7 arc minutes, but magnitude 12.7. Maybe a little faint for that. But we are pretty deep south. Spire with a bar, lowercase, of a lenticular class, 90 million light years distant, puts it at about, let's say, 60,000 light years in diameter, RA 618.30, with a declination of minus 1832.15, pushing it up to 105x, centering, and gone. NGC 2212 was a neighbor of NGC 2211. Do believe it's this faint fuzzy right about there. Magnitude 13.4, larger, 1.5 by 0.8 arc minutes, spire with a bar. Lenticular class A should have quite a bright core, which leads me to believe it may be this one here. AdventuresInDeepSpace.com to get recommendations on navigation by an expert, Steve Gottlieb. RA is 6/18/35 with a declination of minus 18 degrees, 31 minutes and 11 seconds, with a gibbous moon hanging almost in the skies, entering the sky's middle third. What do you think this is? Clearly, it's a sweet little sprinkling of an open cluster. NGC 2215 and Monoceros, the unicorn. Collective magnitude of 8.4, 11 arc minutes in size, some 40 stars. The brightest are magnitude 10.5. Looks a little fainter than that to me, but who knows. Class 2-2, 4,200 light years distant. RA 6/20/49 with a declination of minus 7/17 endoseconds, pushing it up just a little bit to 75x, centering and gone. NGC 2216 is hiding right behind that diffraction luminosity from a power line. Galaxy, Canis Majoris, magnitude 12.8. Seeing some faints in here. 1.4 by 1.1 arc minute, kind of be roundish. Spiral of the bar, lowercase ab, should have a present core, 131 million light years distant, maybe about the size of 80,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 6/21/30 with a declination of minus 2205/13. 105x view. I suspect this is our galaxy right here, but verify it on with Steve Gottlieb. NGC 2217 is a galaxy in Canis Majoris, quite bright. I think we can make it out here. You should probably center it up and then do a synchronization on this. We're not getting good finding tonight. Magnitude 10.7, 4.7 by 4.3 arc minute, spiral with a bar, and a lenticular A. It's got a ring, should be easily visible, but not with that amount of luminosity and artificial light pollution in the sky. 70 million light years distant, puts us about 80,000 light years in diameter. RA 6/21/39 with a declination of minus 27/14/02. NGC 2218 is a group of stars in Gemini, the twins, a mere 1.5 arc minutes in size. RA 6/24/41 with a declination of plus 19/20/28. This is the kind of thing that got mistaken for a nebula in the eyepiece observing era. Probably because many of these stars here would have been fainter in the background of the eyepiece. We are, after all, getting what would be the equivalent of a 30 to 36 inch telescopic view, which would be the largest scopes of that era used to populate the NGC catalog. NGC 2219 is an open cluster, a little sprinkling right there in Monoceros, 8 by 8 arc minutes, 6,600 light years distant, RA 6/23/44, declination minus 4 degrees, 40 minutes, 36 seconds. The fact that we are still running into open clusters tells me that we are still lying within the Milky Way Galactic plane, which we are going to exit this evening, I do believe. NGC 2223 is a brightish galaxy in Canis Majoris. It's a spiral with a bar, lowercase ab, 123 million light years distant, 3.2 by 2.6, puts it at about 100,000 light years in diameter. RA is 6/24/35 with a declination of minus 22 degrees, 50 minutes and 19 seconds. That's probably our galaxy right there. Pretty deep south with a moon, luminous moon. Not the best of views, but we're going to proceed through the catalog. The sky, however, itself is quite clear with a minimal amount of residual atmospheric cloudification. NGC 2224 is another group of stars, and once again in Gemini. I suspect it's this group down here. Not an open cluster. There's no information available to RA 62728 with a declination of plus 12 degrees, 35 minutes, and 36 seconds. Okay, halfway through our sortie this evening, we're now looking for another open cluster, which I think we can make out right there in Monoceros. Magnitude 14, 1.5 arc minutes in diameter. The brightest star is magnitude 14, which means the rest of them are pretty faint. It's a class number 1, 10,400 light years distant, quite distant. RA 62634 with a declination of minus 9 degrees, 37 minutes, 48 seconds. Okay, a mere click away from 2225 is NGC 2226. Looks like the same cluster as far as I can tell, although it didn't specify that's the case. Magnitude 14, 1.5, class 1. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. 62637 minus 9 degrees, 38 minutes, 33 seconds. NGC 2227. Push it up to 105x. Galaxy in Canis Majoris. Still expect him to be a little higher up. This is probably it right there. Magnitude 12.5, 2.1 by 1.2 arc minutes, spiral with a bar and a lowercase c. Starting to reveal itself. 103 million light years distant, maybe 60,000 light years in diameter. RA 62557 with a southerly declination of minus 22 degrees, 18 seconds. NGC 2232 is this brightish open cluster in Monoceros. Its collective magnitude is 3.9, some 30 stars. 30 arc minutes in size, 20 stars. Magnitude 5 is the brightest star, so it's a visible star to the unaided eye. Class 4, 1,200 light years distant. About a little more than almost 3 times that of the Pleiades. Right ascension 62801 with a declination of minus 45048. NGC 2234, probably right down here on the screen, is an open cluster in Gemini. Push this up. 25 arc minutes in size, about that big. 5,300 light years distant. No other information other than at right ascension 62921 with a declination of plus 16 degrees, 43 minutes, and 24 seconds. And without that information, I wouldn't have been able to find it. Nor would the Gemini 2 Losman D mount. NGC 2236 is an open cluster. This is kind of cute, isn't it? Nice curl to it, conch shell. In Monoceros, magnitude 8.57 arc minutes in size, some 50 stars. The brightest are magnitude 11. It's a class 3, 2. It looks a little more compact and condensed than a class 3. 2, yeah, it's kind of disparate in magnitude, although I suspect many of these stars may be part of it. We're at 6 hours, 29 minutes, 39 seconds. Declination plus 6 degrees, 49 minutes, 48 seconds. Okay, NGC 2237 is a nebula, and I think we are making it out vaguely here, and an open cluster in Monoceros. Total magnitude, luminosity is 5.5. It spills outside the field of view at 80 by 60 arc minutes. It is an emissive, and you can see that from the reddish coloration. Pushing it up a little bit, very heart-shaped, isn't it? Most of the stellar formation has occurred here to the east and to the south, and most of the luminosity is located more towards the west and the north. It's 5,000 light years distant, with a right ascension of 6 hours, 30 minutes, 54 seconds, and a declination of plus 5 degrees, 3 minutes, and 8 seconds. I'm going to pause and allow it to get a few more stacks. Right now we've got 10 of them, however. Okay, here's 12 stacks now with only one ignored of NGC 22. I believe it's 37 because we are now, it looks like we're going to something very similar next. Okay, This is just the nebula. So probably this region in here was discovered separately. I'm going to give you the data on it because I believe it had a magnitude value. Oh, no, 22. I forget what it was. 37, 38. All right, I'll go to 37 first. And let's pause for a second. Yes, NGC 2238 might be this other nebulosity. This is the open cluster, though. That's very peculiar. Probably discovered first, and then the nebulosity later. In Monoceros, magnitude 6, 80 by 60, emissive type 5,000 light years distant. This one's at 6 hours, 30 minutes, 40 seconds with a declination of plus 5 degrees, 47 seconds. Okay, a lot of star for... Oh, this looks very familiar, doesn't it? It's calling this a nebula and open cluster in Monoceros. We did have a little bit of a shift. NGC 2239. Now, this is the best framed image yet. I love it. Okay, it's open cluster in Monoceros, and it's also NGC 2244, so we can skip that. Magnitude 4.8, 24 arc minutes in size, some 100 stars. So we're pretty much talking about the open cluster with some nebulosity there. Brightest stars are magnitude 5.8. It's a class 2, normally condensed, 3 with disparate magnitudes, 5,000 light years distant, RA 63155 with a declination of plus 4 degrees, 56 minutes and 34 seconds. Quite a beauty, isn't it? Okay, NGC 2240 is an open cluster in Auriga, right about there, suspect. 1,500 light years distant, no other information. RA 63310 with a declination of plus 35 degrees, 15 minutes, and no seconds. This is as far north as we have gotten this evening. Yep, we are getting some Earth roof tri-blocking now. What we're looking for is NGC 2242, a planetary nebula in Auriga. Magnitude 14.5, 22 arc seconds in size with a central star of magnitude 17.6. That would be a hard find even if there wasn't a planetary nebula enshrouding it. 19,500 light years distant. Now I have to tell you, we're 25,000 light years out. This is another 45,000 light years out. So this planetary nebula lies within our Milky Way. So we know we're at roughly about 90,000. If we use the radius out to this and double it, the Milky Way is roughly 90,000 light years in diameter based on our own observations thus far. Now what I'm going to do is I suspect this is our planetary, pushing the magnification up and bailing. Sorry, folks, it was too faint, magnitude 14.5. That's more like a ninth magnitude study right there. NGC 2245 is simply declared a nebula, and we can see it right there in Monoceros. It's 2 by 2 arc minutes. We've seen several examples of this very incipient open cluster type nebulosity. Reflective type with a bright star around it, 2,500 light years distant. We're at RA 63241 with a declination of plus 10 degrees, 9 minutes and 23 seconds. This is not a meteor. NGC 2246 is that nebula once again, but now we push the open cluster down to the west and the south. So we've had several views of this nebulosity associated with the open cluster. It's 80 by 60 arc minutes. That hasn't changed. Emissive type 7,800 light years distant. RA is 63233 with a declination of plus 50741. I'll see if there's any more that are going to be in our range. Yeah, 2247 is another nebula. Let's go there. Otherwise, I would do a long-term exposure on this as our exit view. Maybe I'll even remember 2246. Okay, NGC 2247 is a nebula in Monoceros. It's a mere 2 by 2 arc minutes in size. Boy, that looks very much like the last one we saw. Reflective type, 2,500 light years distant, adventuresindeepspace.com. RA 63305 with a declination of plus 10 degrees, 19 minutes and 17 seconds. Okay, this is our 10-second exposure view of NGC 2246, that nebula in Monoceros, 80 by 60 emissive types, 7,800 light years distant, RA 63233, declination plus 5 degrees, 7 minutes, 41 seconds. Shall we try a 30-second exposure? Let's. Well, due to the fact the moon is in the sky, we are not getting any kind of a stacking on the 30-second view. So let's go back to 10 seconds and then hail and farewell with our Carpe Noctem view. Okay, here's our initial 10-second view of NGC 2246. The view before was preferable. We are getting stacking. It is triangulating and finding stars, as you can see based on the message provided below. I am going to clear the screen a little bit and allow this to accumulate. We are now about 21 minutes into this astrovid, which we covered maybe 25 NGC studies. We are now coming out of the galactic plane, and the NGC catalog is going to be more and more populated by studies to the north. I do believe we got about 40 studies ahead of us. I am going to cover the 2250 to 2299 this series because we need to get ahead, and you can see what happens if we don't get ahead. I end up getting blocked by a roof try, anything greater than 35 degrees north latitude. So there is our view of NGC 2246, nebula in Monoceros, 80 by 60 arc minutes, emissive type, 7,800 light years distant, RA 63233 with a declination of plus 5 degrees, 7 minutes, 41 seconds. And with 9 stacks completed now, I am going to say, you heard it, Carpe Noctem.